We had an interesting question come in for this set of Q&As. This one is from the Great Gatsby, who asked me, quote, "You've said in the past that you hate when lawyers sue right away when certain legislation is passed because there hasn't been damages to sue for, causing more issues than waiting to have a reason to sue for actual damages. What's your take on when Mark Elias does the same thing and wins? Or am I missing something that he does that others do not do?" I think there's multiple different answers to this, but first and foremost, the fact that you can point to a single individual that is sometimes successful with this is kind of the old adage, the exception that proves the rule. Because you can point to one person, right, who is occasionally successful, it actually shows that everybody else is not successful. So, and I know there have been others that have been successful as well. And when I've made these statements, I don't say that it never works because sometimes it does. Just like sometimes if you're in a casino and you see the people tapping on the screen, they can hit a jackpot. Does that mean that the tapping on the screen caused them to hit the jackpot? No. And Mark Elias is a very talented lawyer. He's also not a great person. I don't know if anybody's actually looked into the history of Mark Elias, but let me read you guys this that I came across in my research for this particular segment. In 2024, Elias sued to overturn an Ohio law barring foreign nationals from spending money on ballot measure campaigns. That same year, Elias petitioned the FEC to allow a George Soros-funded political action committee to coordinate with Democratic campaigns. The FEC approved the request, which consequently allowed Donald Trump to immediately begin working with groups funded by billionaires like Elon Musk on canvassing operations targeting swing state voters. According to the New York Times, Elias has played a key role in carving new pathways for big money into the political process. So, not exactly a role model there, that Mark Elias. He wants more money in politics, including foreign money, which he fought for and successfully won. More foreign influence in our elections via money. So, Mark Elias, not exactly a great guy, I'll say. But also, the reason I prefer when these groups and organizations wait to file a lawsuit is, as Great Gatsby pointed out, because a lawsuit requires damages. But there's also different kinds of lawsuits. When you have a state that passes a law that violates the civil rights of individuals, the moment that law is signed, those civil rights are violated. So you do automatically have an injury in instances like that. There are damages. The act of signing that law cause those civil rights harms. You don't have to wait until somebody is out there in the street to have their civil rights violated. It's the other way around. With the abortion bans, that is not, in the eyes of the law, as much of a civil rights issue. So when you had these groups, right, we signed the anti-abortion law, ha ha ha, liberals, and then 2 hours later the lawsuits have been filed, that was a mistake. Because you couldn't show harm, couldn't show damages, you couldn't show anything. And yeah, ultimately, those lawsuits, all the way up to the Supreme Court, caused this. That's what caused this. It's also a little more difficult to come up with a valid legal argument if you don't give things time. I spent over 2 decades working in one of the most successful law firms in the United States of America. At one point, they were the 4th winningest law firm in the United States. They had cases, big cases. They're the ones that did the big tobacco, asbestos, every major case you've ever heard of, they did. And it wasn't just, oh, we got this study saying tobacco's bad, we're filing a lawsuit right now. They would spend years in just the research part to even determine if they had a case. And yeah, during that time, people did suffer and they died from these dangerous products. But by the time they did that and they file the suit and then they go through the discovery and all this, and it takes years and years and years and years and years to build this, they'd knock it out of the park damn near every time because they did take their time. And they won for those plaintiffs, the people injured by these corporations. Lawsuits take time. And I know it's difficult to give them time because, yeah, your civil rights are being violated. Your rights as a human being are being violated. Or this company's product, my wife is going to be dead before you even get to trial. I get it. But it still takes time. It doesn't make it any easier on the individuals, but ultimately it will help to put their lives back together. So, again, 2 decades in the legal field. Trust me when I say, you gotta take a little bit of time on these issues.